only for those which expired between March 14th and March 31st. As for picking up permits, scheduling operator, chauffeurs, and motorcycle written exams, also you would be able to renew them on Friday. The release also goes on to say that Guam residents should be aware that for their driver's licenses and Guam IDs, which expired from March 14th through August 31st, all late fees will be waived as long as renewal is done by September 4th. In addition to the waiver of fees for these licenses, Guam Revenue Tax is also given an automatic extension for those licenses from August 31st as long as renewal is done by September 4th. So we're going to post something, I believe, on social media to get the word out, because that is a lot of information. And so you know the time frames.
Right. We'll bring on Dafne. Dafne, first of all, good morning.
Happy Christmas, Sabrina, and happy day, Guam.
Good morning.
I'm glad you came out with this release because one of the number one, it was just way up there, at least top 5 questions we got during this whole pandemic was, how do we renew our vehicle registration? How do we renew our driver's license? Mm-hmm. This is when we're on full lockdown. People were asking about this. So I guess first question, did you guys anticipate that the need for these types of services would be so great?
Well, we knew that we would have a great need, but I think we didn't anticipate just kind of the volume of people that would be willing to come in, and I guess on these times. So, as you know, we were open the last 2 Saturdays, mm-hmm. and, the first Saturday, our team was actually here. We left past 7. I was at the stoplight right here by Conwood, Erlita Electric, that heads up to Catholic Social Services. When I was leaving, I was there at like 7:28 p.m. So our team was here 2 Saturdays ago, probably since around 5, and we didn't leave until past 7. And we there was such a huge volume of people 2 weeks ago, and so that last Saturday we were probably able to service about the same amount of people, but we worked to try to improve upon the way that we set up the lines and the way that we were kind of moving things a little bit more systematic, and we were able to. My team says that we were able to service about the same amount of people, if not a little bit more, but we were able to leave or close by 4. So, we're continuing to kind of get better. But, of course, what has happened is because, of this large demand, 2 weekends ago, I think we had people here before 5. This past weekend, some people were saying they were here at like 3 in the morning or even earlier. Mm-hmm. And so, and then, of course, we had to turn some people away. And because we don't want to turn people away, we're really trying to just, be a little bit more systematic and, carve out a portion at a time. And so that we prioritize, of course, those people who, were not able to renew and expired during the pandemic, during the time the public health emergency was called. So that's why we're doing this in this way. But yes, there's a huge demand. In addition to this, though, and I don't know if you recall, we also had an online scheduling issue where, of course, it wouldn't allow online scheduling to go past 90 days. So we've also been able to lift that. So I've actually checked it, and if you get onto our website and you try to schedule an appointment, there's a section toward the mid-right portion of our page where it says schedule an online appointment. And so now if you need to schedule an appointment, and of course, we're really trying to focus on those people who have had driver's licenses that have expired. So for those people who have licenses that have not yet expired but are going to need to be renewed soon, I suggest that you please get onto our website and work to schedule. And again, I tried to go all the way up until December, and I saw that there were openings still. And although I am seeing so we have a color coding. If it turns red, it means that it's getting to the point that it's a calendar, and on each day it's color coded. So if it's green, it means there's obviously still slots that are open, and if it turns red, then it means that of course it's starting to fill up. And so, I suggest that people, really work to get on. But, we thank everybody for being patient. We're really trying. And again, we're doing our best in the next week as well. It says it on our media release, but we're going to be, of course, opening up some more stations so that we can work to service on a walk-in basis. But, again, after this Friday, we're going to reassess and just to make sure, again, that, we're going to be carving out portions of the population so that way we identify and we have only those, we work to prioritize those. So we don't have the information on that yet, but we will probably over the weekend we'll issue a release so that way people will know. But, we're doing our best. We're just trying to, again, work to try to get these licenses and GOM IDs for those people who have expired, renewed, and and service our people the best we can. So again, thank you, Sabrina and Chris, and yes, thank you so much for working to put it on social media. We really need to get the word out. We were meeting yesterday, and actually we've been meeting over the last couple of days, just really to strategize, to figure out how we can serve our people. We want to open up, the net and make sure everybody can come in, but at the same time, we recognize that, and we don't like to have to, turn people away. And it's really disheartening, I know, not just for them, but also for our team when we have to let people know, I'm sorry, but we've already reached kind of the capacity and we're not able to serve. So, again, in an effort to try to improve, we're taking this route. And again, we're continuing to adjust, as we go along.
I did want to ask, isn't there a deadline coming up? I think the 15th to file tax returns?
Yeah. Yes.
Right? But still.
So July 15 is the deadline to file your income tax return. April 15 is normally the deadline, but of course, because of the public health emergency that's happening across the nation, back in March, the IRS did issue a release that stated that, the IRS themselves would be extending the deadline because of this, an anomalous situation. So, of course, we follow, and yes, the deadline for filing your income tax returns is July 15. Historically, we've gone out to the malls and had satellite locations there. We're not intending to do that, and we don't have the capabilities and the people to do that. And also, of course, as you know, we did open up, and I was calling it kind of a single transaction line, but, our team's calling it the easy line. So, at the left side of our building, if you're facing our building, we have a line that's strictly for filing of income tax returns only. And so, you can come here, and, I suggest and recommend that people, come and try to file beforehand. Otherwise, you know what? You can actually file an extension online. If there's a need for you to file an extension, sometimes people are still not able to gather the information, by the time the due date comes. So if you need to file an extension for whatever reason, you can actually file that Form 4868 online. So if you go to myguamtax.com, you can register there and you can file your extension. You don't have to come in to file your extension. So, again, for those people who, to help so that people don't have to come in, you can do many things online. And but you're right, Sabrina. July 15th is the deadline. It's the income tax filing deadline. So we're anticipating that there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be coming again to our office here in Barrigada for that.
Are you already trying to figure out how you're going to accommodate? I mean, if you think the line for licenses of motor vehicle registration is long, I'm pretty sure that's going to be a monster line.
Well, I think that because of the EIP program, and people wanting to file their returns, of course, we're seeing, more and more people file their returns. But yeah, thank you, Chris, because you know what? So even as we have been going through this public health emergency, as we have been going through the process of operating during this PCOR2, we've also, again, been working to adjust. Some things we've had to do, and you'll notice probably if you pass by our building in the morning, is we have cones that are set up outside. So that way people know they can make a right turn only if they leave the building from our main entrance. And, the other things are that we've, actually had to, not open up our parking lot until a certain period of time because, again, it gives us the opportunity to make sure that there is some level of order when people come in. When before we did this, and of course we did this at the recommendation of GPD and the National Guard, but before, when we left our parking lots open, what was happening was, we had people not only parking in our parking lot, of course, very, very early or very late at night, but we also had people who were already beginning to form a line. And because of that, it caused a lot of confusion. And of course, if somebody is here very, very early, and they're not able to be in the line at the time that they are expecting because they're earlier than other people, then that causes problems. So, we open up at 8 in the morning, but, our team, I believe we open up our parking lot around 7. And that's, that's for safety also. And it's also to make sure that, again, we are able to manage the lines and make sure that they're orderly and make sure that people are serviced and, first come, first in, first out, right? First come, first served. So that's what we're trying to do.
Will you guys still have the drop box?
Absolutely, Sabrina. So we do have a drop box, and our drop box, has been open throughout the whole time. We actually, even through the public health emergency, when we were shut down, we did have people coming in on a daily basis, making sure that we that we check the drop box. And historically, what we've been doing on the eve of April 15, is we have actually had somebody here all the way up until like midnight, so we make sure we close the box actually exactly at midnight, and that people, when they come in, if they, because people do still try to come in like 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, 8 in the morning the next day before we open, I guess hoping to still try to make the deadline. So historically we've had somebody here all the way up until midnight just to make sure we close that, and then we isolate those that are coming in at the actual deadline, and then I'm expecting that will happen. But yes, we have a drop box. But again, I know, we've had to take some measures as well because of course, we had, some of the canopies that we had borrowed from our mayors, and I believe, I'm not sure if it was our National Guard, they were stolen. We haven't had that problem again, although we did have a situation afterward where our team found that some of the ropes were cut on when we came in one morning, we found some of the ropes that were cut on the canopies for the canopy itself, the tarp. Mm-hmm. And perhaps that was maybe our team believes that in anticipation of somebody trying to come in and to steal them later. So they were trying to prep for that. We've been fortunate that, of course, our Guam Airport Police, who are close by, and our GPD, they've been working to help to police our area so that we don't run into that problem. But, of course, when we close up our parking lot, it makes it a little bit difficult for people, of course, to drop things outside of business hours when our parking lot is closed. But we do still have a drop box here.
Okay. We do have a question from one of our viewers. It says, where are the stimulus EIP checks for 2019 April filers? The federal government from the U.S. provided more than enough funds, and we keep being dodged by agencies. We have been waiting too long.
Okay. Well, you know what? So we did issue a media release, I think, in the last week that indicated, and thank you for that question, and thank you to that listener for that question, because, there are a lot of people who have questions about why I don't have my EIP check yet. And so what our team did was we did come up with, some potential reasons why. Of course, there could be a processing issue. It could be, you had received you may have had a check, but it was not received because of an incorrect mail address. There might have been, if there was no check process, there could be a Social Security issue, could be eligibility requirements. It could be, of course, what happens for those filers who file a non-filer form. Our system actually cross-checks against our database to make sure that people who are listed do not, either they're not claimed as a dependent on somebody else's return, or they are not, they have not filed another type of return. And so, there are many different reasons why, and so we suggest people call us. Thank you as well for asking. So finally we have launched our portal, and so you can actually get onto the myguamtax.com website. Mm-hmm. We do issue a media release on Monday. Normally we issue our updates on the EIP on a Friday, but we had our budget hearing and several other things happening Friday, so we were a little bit delayed. But on Monday we did issue a media release about our opening of our EIP payment portal. And so, people can actually, if you have a question about whether or not you have a payment or your payment was processed, you can go to myguamtax.com. It's a little bit of a different process than what is involved with IRS. For Guam Rev and Tax, we've actually made it so that you actually have to register in order to be able to access the portal. And so that way, there's an additional bit of a security measure. And so once you register, you can get in and you can go ahead and you can check the status. And what it'll tell you is if you have had a payment processed, it will indicate the date the payment's processed and the check number. If you haven't had a payment processed, I believe it'll advise to contact us, or it'll advise that there's no information at this time. And then, of course, it's interesting because we have run into people who, there are also letters that were mailed out. I don't know if you recall, what's required by the CARES Act is after a check is processed, then, we're required by law to send out mailers to advise people that a check has been paid to them or sent to them. And so what we're seeing is that some people are coming in and they're saying, I have my letter, but I don't have my check. And so, that's another security, security measure. So, those people, and it could be for many reasons. It could be it's less in the mail. It could be, it was returned for some reason, but, those are, again, triggers. So but we do have the portal already, so you can go log in online and make sure that you do that. But I will, and make sure that you can check that. But I will share with you and with our people, it is really, truly, honestly, a very huge priority for us to pay. I will share with you, our team wanted to make sure that we could get as many, processed returns in as possible so that we can make payment this week. I was here a little bit after 6 last night with one of our administrators because we wanted to make sure that we were able to process payments this week. And we're committed to paying. We make payments every week, and we're continuing to process returns for the purpose of paying. So again, we thank everyone for their patience, but we are committed to paying, and we've been committed to paying since the beginning, and we'll continue to do our best to help our team, help our people. I'm sorry.
Do you have a number of how many people who have, like you said that there was this letter that went out? Ow, sorry about that. Do you have a number of how many people have came to DRT or called and have said, hey, I got this letter, but I don't have my money?
You know what? I don't have a number on that, but I know some people personally, like some family members who, they received the letter, but they haven't received the check yet. And so for those individuals, what we request or what we recommend is that, of course, because a stop payment has to be made on the original check so that it could be reissued, what you can do is you can come to our office so that way you could fill out the stop payment form. And you actually have to come physically because you have to fill out that stop payment form because that stop payment form has to be transmitted to the banks. And in original form, right? And so, for those individuals, if you could please come into our office and we'll do our best to serve you as quickly as possible. But, again, the stop payments have to be made so that those are reissued. I don't have the number on that, Sabrina,
okay.
But I do know that it is happening. And I do know, and it could be for, again, we don't know really why. Again, I have some family members as well that I know, they get their mail, they got their letter, but they didn't get their check. And again, it's really difficult to say. And so, but that is happening. And, we're doing our best to remedy it. And we're working with the Treasurer of Guam and DOA to make sure that those checks get reissued.
Mm-hmm. We are getting quite a few questions and concerns about the status of tax returns.
Okay. Sure. And with regards to tax returns, or refunds.
Refunds, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. And so with regards to refunds, of course, DRT is charged with making sure that we make payment in line with the permanent injunction, which requires, that those payments be made within 6 months of the deadline or 6 months of the due date or 6 months of the date filed, whichever's later. And as I mentioned before, you can always go to the GuamTax.com website or the MyGuamTax.com website, and we have this golden box there that indicates where we are in terms of payments. Of course, DRT, we must make sure that we stay within that 6 months. And I believe that we are, as of June 22nd, we were on January 28th, and we paid about almost 4.9 million. Before that, of course, as you know, January 27 was the first day that we began to receive 2019 returns, and I believe we had paid out a little bit over $8 million a few weeks ago. So, the numbers that we're seeing are a little bit larger, but, of course, we're continuing to work to pay. We do work in conjunction, of course, with the rest of the fiscal discipline team, and in particular, of course, the Department of Administration, because, they really manage the cash and the cash flow. And so, again, our charge is to process, and, we're committed to continuing to process so that, when funds are available, then those get, paid out as soon as possible. And, of course, again, that's all, done in coordination with the rest of the fiscal team, and DRT is working and committed to continue to paying and processing.
We spoke with Senator Amanda Shelton earlier this week, and she was telling us that she was going to be meeting with you regarding her bill, which lapsed into law, creating this Mengafa program. Can you provide an update on that?
Sure. And so, of course, We actually were just in receipt of that particular what lapsed into law, and so our team is going to be meeting with Senator Shelton. Actually, our team has a meeting today.
Okay.
And we have not met yet. Okay. So there are still some items, of course, that we have to review here also and work on our systems to make sure that we can process these. With regards to Senator Shelton's bill, and we'll give an update once we are ready. But we do have, of course, Revenue Tax has, as I understand it, 30 days to come up with rules and regs that get transmitted to the legislature. And so, our team is already, we met yesterday. I have a team that's already assigned to work on the rules and regs.
I want to fix stuff with that.
And so that's, of course, we're working on that. But do you mind if I just share a few of other pieces of information from our Monday release?
Mm-hmm.
So on Monday we did, again, we issued a media release on our EIP. It was our weekly update on how much we processed. To date, or as of June 25, we actually had processed $126.04 million in EIP program payments, and that's about almost 69,000 payments that have been, mailed out or sent out to our people already. And we're going to be processing payments again this week so that we can get those to Treasurer Guan to transmit or to mail out. We did also indicate in our media release on Monday that there is a deadline for the filing of the Form EIP-NF. Now, Revenue Tax has until December 31, 2020 to make payments on the EIP. And so for the EIP-NF, we have a deadline of October 15. So for everybody who files an EIP-NF, a valid EIP-NF, and they're eligible, those payments. We're actually, again, the deadline to file those so that you can get payment by December 31 is October 15. So, again, we wanted to just make sure the community knew, and that's something that what we do is we align with the IRS as the IRS issues information. Then we also, do our best to work to align. The IRS themselves as well has a deadline of October 15 for the NF portal, or for the non-filer portal. And so we also have an October 15 deadline for that Form EIP-NF. And so I just want to let everybody know, of course, again, thank you, Sabrina, and thank you, Chris, and thank you to your station for continuing to, be committed to get this information out. We thank our people for being patient. We're doing our best every day to try to get these payments out. And it is a huge, hugely important. As I mentioned, we were here past 6 o'clock last night. I know I left my administrator here late last night. He had to work to prep the information so that we can process payments today. We're constantly having people that are working on it again, making sure that we're doing, making sure that we're getting these payments out. And we're going to continue to do that, and we're committed to do it. And we appreciate as well, Chris and Sabrina, your listeners, their concerns and things. And so, please feel free to share with us any questions and concerns.
We did have, sorry, Daph, there was another comment here. What is the 2019 tax refund payment schedule? Can you post on Revenue Tax website? Are you guys able to do that? Or what is the schedule?
So with regards to a 2019 tax refund, like a schedule, again, that's something I don't have. Generally, and if you look kind of historically, of course, this past Berkeley, and I think prior to our administration, what was happening was, of course, there wasn't real consistency in terms of when payments are made, and of course, payments, are made based on cash availability. Right. I don't have a payment schedule. Again, payments are made in conjunction with of course, information as we work with DOA. Right. Now, again, we're continuing to pay. We're working to pay out as much as we can. I know Director Byrne, makes sure that, they work to maximize the amount of payments that we can make to our people. Not only are the EIP payments priority for us and our administration, of course, the payment of refunds to our people, most especially, during this public health emergency, is a huge, hugely important to us. So, I know, again, we're continuing to work to make payments as soon as possible, but we don't have a payment schedule.
Okay.
But I do have to say, though, if you notice, like I think in this past year, and I think I've mentioned this before, we've done our best to make sure at least we get weekly updates. And as we make payment, again, we update our website so that people will see that.
Well, thank you, Daph. We definitely wanted to get you on this morning. It's going to be our last show of containing COVID, so we wanted to get you on. You got so much valuable information. So thank you.
I didn't know that it was your last day. You know what? Thank you for getting me on your last day. But you know what? Thank you, Sabrina and Chris, really personally, for really just doing such a great job. I honestly really enjoy listening to you guys. I think you're so very, super sharp, Sabrina. I love, how quick-witted you are. I've always admired that. But the other thing is, I think, what's great about what you do is, you bring out some really important issues, but you're also able to add to the humor of it. And I think, most especially in this time, it's so important that we're able to add some humor to some of the things that are happening, only because, and I'm personally not very good at telling jokes or things, and I think I've mentioned that to you. My sister says that when I'm done telling a story, I have to say the end because I'm not sure if I'm done. And so, but my sister, Sabrina, kind of reminds me of you because she's very quick-witted.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of tell her something and she's like, got an answer right away. And I am not that way. My mind is such that it, kind of has to kind of analyze everything. Mm-hmm. My husband says I'm an overthinker. But I do want to just, again, say thank you for your commitment to get the information out. And thank you always for, kind of, making sure that I get on to get out this information. I really, really appreciate it personally, and I want to say thank you and kudos to you for this whole COVID-19, thing that you guys did. It was really, I think, very helpful to everyone.
Thank you,
thanks,
Daphne. Is this the end?
You know what? The end.
There you go.
Tell Dana I said hi, by the way.
Wash your hands, okay?
Be blessed and healthy, and have a great day.
You too.
Daph.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah. Yeah, it's our last day. It is so. Someone messaged me, say it ain't so, it's so. They're probably having champagne for breakfast at Adelude. They're right. Popping bottles, yep, We're going to do a press conference the next 2 weeks. We're going to have 2 press conferences a day now that they're out of the picture. Pesky, meddling COVID-19, containing COVID, Chris and Sabrina. Sorry, Dustin.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, you know it.
We'll be back.
Yeah, So, there were so many comments. Thank you, guys. And honestly, I feel guilty. Mm-hmm. I really feel guilty. I've been struggling with it. I feel guilty because it's not just part of you guys' morning routine. I'm living for this so much. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I wake up at 3:30 a.m. and I'm ready to go. I want to come in. I'm like, hey, I'm singing on the way to work. I got that fire again, So, yeah, I feel guilty, but and there was a lot of comments. It's so sudden. Just a little insider baseball here. KUAM, we're a small company, and in order for Bree and I to take a break, we got to consider like all the moving parts of this small company, and how when we take a break, everyone's workload is going to increase. So we kind of had to figure out when can we do it. It was like we can do it now. So.
Yeah, we've kind of been moving around the day when we were going to decide to take a break, and I think we finally just committed to a day.
Right.
And so,
well, it wasn't this day. We actually were. I was like, hey, the filing deadlines, or you were the filing deadline. We wanted to just do the day after the filing deadline and kind of go in on who filed, but. Then John Fernandez had a big press conference to the Department of Education. Yeah. Also, there's information about rev and tax. And so we're like, oh, looks like we're going to work Thursday. And we will have Superintendent John Fernandez on at the 8 o'clock hour. There's a lot of info about the schools, and this could be a long one, really key for you guys. If you could stick around and listen in, maybe share the broadcast for any public school parents out there. Let's keep it on the phones here. We want to bring on the Minority Leader, Senator Tello. We just really want to catch up with you before we go on break, Senator. So thanks for joining us.
Good morning.
I'm so sad. Good morning, Chris, and good morning, Sabrina. And yes, I'm so sad because, as the minority in this legislature, the majority of any kind of information, I listen to you guys to get that